Alright y'all, let's cut straight to it. You ever wonder why a woman can go from "I kinda like him" to "I feel connected to him" real fast, or not at all? Why some women bond deeply, while others keep emotional walls higher than a New York skyscraper? Today, we're breaking down the real psychology behind how women develop emotional attachment in a relationship. Not the TikTok version, not the movie version, but the facts backed by research, science, and real human behavior. Let's dive in. Emotional safety, the first layer of attachment. Women don't form emotional attachment because of looks, money, or fancy dates. That's surface-level attraction. Real attachment begins with emotional safety, which means she can express herself without being judged. She feels heard and taken seriously. She can be vulnerable without worrying you'll use it against her. Imagine a woman named Sarah. She's been in relationships where every time she opened up, her feelings got dismissed. So now, she plays it safe. When she meets a guy who actually listens, doesn't make her feel stupid, and remembers the little things she says, that's where the spark of emotional attachment begins. If you're the dude who says, "Nah, that's crazy," every time she shares something personal, bro, you're done. Women don't attach to men who make them feel like a burden. They attach to men who make them feel seen. Studies show that emotional safety activates trust-based bonding hormones like oxytocin, which strengthens attachment. If she feels safe, she'll connect deeper. If she feels judged, she'll disconnect instantly. Consistency over intensity. Movies sell us the idea that grand gestures and fireworks create emotional bonds, but real psychology says the opposite. Women attach through consistency, not intensity. For example, a guy can buy her flowers once, but if he disappears for 3 days afterward, the emotional system chokes. Another guy sends "Good morning, hope you're having a good day" every day for weeks. No drama, no games, and she feels naturally drawn to him. Consistency tells her, he's reliable. He's not playing games. I'm safe investing my emotions here. Women get attached when a man's actions match his words. Not when he's saying "I care about you," but acting like she's an afterthought. In the US, where dating culture can be wild, flaky, and full of "I'll hit you up later," a consistent man stands out like a diamond in a driveway. If you show up, keep your word, text back like a grown adult, she notices. Her brain literally categorizes you as someone I can trust. Consistency builds emotional attachment because it gives her brain a break from uncertainty. Emotional attachment grows where anxiety dies. You want her attached. Show up again. And, yup, show up again. Shared vulnerability. Emotional attachment isn't one-sided. A woman becomes attached, not only when she opens up, but when you open up too. If she's sharing her fears, her childhood stories, her insecurities, and you're sitting there like Fort Knox with zero emotional access, she feels disconnected. But when you share your thoughts, your struggles, your dreams, your inner world, that's when bonding becomes mutual. Example, she tells you, "I get anxious when someone suddenly goes quiet on me." You respond, "Honestly, I get that. I used to shut down emotionally because I never saw real communication growing up." Boom. To humans, to truths. One emotional bridge. Vulnerability creates intimacy because it signals trust. When you open up, you're saying, "I trust you with the real me." And women attach deeply to the real version of someone, not the highlight reel version. In the US dating culture, where people often wear masks to look cool, vulnerability is magnetic, not soft, not weak. Magnetic. Emotional reciprocity. Women attach when the emotional exchange feels balanced, not one-sided. This means, she supports you, and you support her, she listens. And you listen, she cares. And you show care when one person gives all the emotional effort, while the other coasts. Attachment breaks down fast. Example: Jamie always checks on her boyfriend's mental health. But when she's stressed, he says, "You're overreacting." Guess what happens? She detaches. Immediately. Then she meets someone who says, "Hey, you seem off today. Want to talk about it?" And boom. That's where emotional attachment shifts. Reciprocity doesn't mean matching everything she does. It means matching the energy. If she invests emotionally, you invest emotionally. Women attach when the bond feels mutual, not lopsided. Emotional presence is a huge factor in emotional bonding. Women attach to men who are emotionally present, not just physically available. Being present means you're actually listening, you respond thoughtfully, you put down your phone during deep conversations. You remember things she said. Example: she says, "I'm nervous about my job interview." A man who's not present says, "You'll be fine," while scrolling TikTok. A man who is present says, "Let's prep together. What part stresses you out the most?" Women attach to presence because it makes them feel valued. In a world full of distractions, presence is intimacy. Genuine curiosity. Women feel emotionally connected when a man shows real interest in who she is, not just what she offers. Curiosity includes asking thoughtful questions, remembering her passions, wanting to understand her worldview, learning about her triggers and comfort zones. Example: she mentions once that her dream is to open a bakery. A curious man will ask, "What inspired that dream? What would your bakery look like? What's the first dessert you'd put on the menu?" Bro, she will melt. Not because you flirted, not because you complimented her, but because you gave a damn. Curiosity builds emotional attachment because it tells her, "You matter enough for me to learn you." Emotional predictability. Women attach when your emotional patterns feel stable, not chaotic. If one day you're sweet, the next you're cold, the next you're romantic, and the next you're distant, she won't attach, she'll protect herself. Example: if she never knows which version of you she'll get, her nervous system stays in survival mode. You cannot bond when your brain is scanning for danger. Predictability equals peace. Peace equals attachment. Shared experiences. Women attach through experiences, not just conversations. These include adventures, inside jokes, repeated routines, deep talks, moments of teamwork. If you create memories together, attachment forms naturally. Emotional validation. Validation is one of the strongest bonding mechanisms. When you validate her emotions by saying, "I understand why that upset you," or "Your feelings make sense," you're building emotional intimacy. Women attach to the men who make their emotions feel real, not dramatic. The impact of stability. No matter how independent she is, emotional attachment grows when she feels like your presence brings stability. Not financial stability, emotional stability. Stability equals consistency, reliability, safety, support.com. Energy. Women attach to men whose presence feels grounding. Emotional reliability builds deep attachment when a man is emotionally reliable. A woman's attachment grows naturally. Emotional reliability means she knows you won't disappear when things get tough. You won't ghost her when she expresses a need. You won't switch up when she becomes vulnerable. Here's the thing: women don't get attached because you're nice. They get attached because you're reliable. Example: let's say she's having a hard week. She texts you saying, "I feel overwhelmed today." One guy replies, "Damn, that sucks. You'll be all right." Another guy says, "Talk to me. What's weighing you down?" Guess who she attached to? Women attach to the men who show up emotionally, not just physically. In psychology, this is connected to secure attachment theory, the idea that humans bond with people who consistently respond to their emotional cues with care and support. For us, dating culture, where ghosting and inconsistency are normalized, a man who's actually reliable is a rare phenomenon, and rare things create deeper attachment. The role of empathy in female attachment. Empathy is like emotional glue. Women bond faster with men who can feel their emotions instead of just hearing them. Quick example. She tells you about a toxic work conflict. A non-empathetic man says, "Just ignore it." An empathetic man says, "That sounds frustrating. Anyone would feel upset in your place." Boom, emotional connection. Empathy tells her, "He gets me. I'm not crazy for feeling this way. I can open up to him." Women attach strongly to men who can step into their emotional world without minimizing or dismissing them. Intellectual connection. Contrary to stereotypes, women don't attach only emotionally, they attach intellectually to an intellectual connection forms when you have meaningful conversations, discuss goals, dreams, beliefs, challenge each other's perspectives, share ideas and deep thoughts. Example, you can talk about love languages, childhood patterns, worldviews, or why people behave the way they do. These kinds of conversations create mental intimacy, and mental intimacy boosts emotional attachment. Psychology calls this cognitive alignment, meaning your minds operate in a compatible way. When a woman feels mentally stimulated by a man, she sees him as a partner, not just a date. Emotional transparency. Women attach deeper to men who are transparent about their emotions, not closed, not mysterious, not emotionally unavailable. Being transparent doesn't mean trauma dumping. It simply means you express what you feel, you communicate when something bothers you, you're honest about your intentions, you make your emotional state clear. Example, instead of disappearing when you're stressed, you say, "Hey, today's heavy for me. I just need some quiet time, but I'm here." To a woman, that is gold. You didn't withdraw emotionally, you communicated. Transparency creates emotional closeness. Closeness creates attachment. When nurturing behavior creates attachment, women naturally attach to men who display nurturing behavior, gentle, supportive, caregiving energy. Examples, checking if she ate, making sure she gets home safe, bringing her medicine when she's sick, giving reassurance during anxious moments. This taps into attachment psychology, where caregiving behaviors activate emotional bonding. But here's the key. It works only when it feels genuine, not performative, manipulative, or transactional. Real nurturing creates emotional trust, and emotional trust creates attachment. Emotional intimacy through physical touch. Physical touch doesn't automatically create attachment, but emotionally meaningful touch does. Examples, gentle forehead kisses, holding hands, hugging her when she's stressed, touching her chin when she's crying, a warm hand on her back when she's nervous. These gestures release oxytocin, also known as the bonding hormone. But here's where movies get it wrong. Men often think sexual intimacy creates attachment, but for women, emotional intimacy through touch is what builds deep connection. Touch that communicates care gives attachment. Touch that communicates lust only gives temporary attraction. The difference is huge. Emotional patience. Women attach to men who show patience, especially during emotionally difficult moments. Patience looks like letting her express herself fully, not rushing her healing, not demanding instant emotional access, not pushing her past her boundaries. Example, if she struggles with trust because of past trauma, patience communicates, "I'm here. I'm not pushing you. I'm not rushing you." In American culture, where dating is often fast-paced and impulsive, a patient man feels safe. Patience allows attachment to grow naturally, instead of being forced. Emotional compatibility. Women attach easier when they feel emotionally compatible with a man. Compatibility means your emotional styles fit together well. Examples: you both communicate clearly, you resolve conflicts similarly, you comfort each other effectively. You understand each other's emotional languages. Let's say she's a reassurance seeker, and you're naturally reassuring. That's compatibility. But if she's emotional, and you shut down under emotions, that's incompatibility. Emotional compatibility doesn't mean being identical. It means being able to function together emotionally. If emotional flow is easy, attachment forms quickly. If emotional flow feels like a war zone, attachment becomes impossible. Emotional investment. Women attach when they feel that a man invests emotionally back into the relationship. This means he remembers what's important to her. He includes her in his personal life. He makes future plans. He expresses care consistently. Example: she tells you her favorite artist is performing next month. If you surprise her with tickets, you're not buying her love, you're showing emotional investment. Emotional investment signals that you care about her happiness, her growth, and her comfort. That's how emotional attachment deepens. Emotional commitment. The final stage of emotional attachment forms when a woman feels emotional commitment from a man. Commitment isn't about labels, it's about clarity. Clear communication, like, I want to build something real with you. I'm serious about us. I'm committed to this connection. Women attach where they feel chosen, not where they feel like an option. Commitment provides emotional certainty, and certainty allows attachment to grow fully. 3 questions for my audience. 1. What emotional behavior makes you feel most connected to someone? 2. Do you think emotional safety is more important than physical chemistry? 3. Which stage of emotional attachment do you struggle with the most? And that's the real psychology behind how women develop emotional attachment in a relationship. Not the fairy tale version, not the Hollywood version, the actual science-backed truth. If you learned something new today, smash that like button. Subscribe for more deep dive psychology videos, and drop your questions in the comments so we can keep this conversation going. Thanks for watching. Stay smart, stay emotionally aware, and I'll catch you in the next one.